Hello! So last episode we had a little look at Packer. It wasn't really a Netflix OSS episode at all. I decided on Packer because I just think Aminator is not relevant anymore. It seems like a dead repo. So I went into Packer instead of Aminator. Today I'm going to move on a little bit to Governator, which is a pretty cool library that Netflix have made. It's quite old though, I think made in 2012 or 13, something like that. But it's going to help with Google Juice. So they've created a hell of a lot of modules for creating like a Jetty server and creating Jersey servlets and whatnot. Also has awesome support for Archaius. So we're going to have a little look at that today. Okay. Have a look at some of the dependencies. We've got here Governator, Jetty, Jersey, and the Archaius 2 Juice dependency that we used a couple of episodes ago. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really good. So we're going to use Governator essentially to create a Jetty server. I've got a little REST service here, and it's going to when we hit this path, it's going to essentially just return hello. But we'll auto wire in another service, and we'll use some Archaius config as well in with that. It's going to be fairly simple, but we're just going to use Governator to do it. It's actually really simple to do. Not much boilerplate code at all, a little bit, but it's going to be almost as easy as Spring Boot really. And so because it's Google Juice, we are going to create an injector. And we are going to use the Injector Builder, which is a Governator Injector Builder. Governator Injector Builder from modules, and the very first module we're going to use is just Archaius module. Okay, and that's going to sort out our property factories for us and that, and it's going to create a nice little config object that we can auto wire in. Dot create injector, coolo. Okay, so if I just quickly check that out, injector, no, config, get instance, config.class, config.getString. And the string we're going to get is called prop. I've got my application.properties here, and I've got a pre-built prop hello Archaius juice. So let's just do a quick build of that. This is like our hello world governator thing. There we go, hello Archaius juice, and with it it's got our runtime layer, remote system, environment, application, and all that. And you can set those yourself in your own module. But I covered that in another episode a few weeks ago. Okay, so that's our little Archaius wired in, really easy. The next thing I want to do is just create a Jetty server, and we're going to use the Archaius 2 Jetty module. If we go in there, it's going to install our Jetty module, and it's going to bring in this Archaius 2 Jetty config. If we have a look here, we've got the prefix governator.jetty.embedded and our port 8080. If we go our application.properties, we can override that here. Governator.jetty.embedded.port 8092 is what we're going to be listening on. Okay, and if I run that, and there we go, Jetty server started on port 8092. But if I go to 8092 hello, it's going to get a 404. Because we haven't actually set up our servlet yet, but we'll cover that now. So what I want to do is set up a servlet and serve all paths with a Governator juice container. Okay, I'm just going to call this module just my servlet module, and that is going to extend servlet module. And we need to override the configure servlets method. And we need to serve everything with Governator servlet module. Is that right? Oh, sorry, Governator servlet container. It's a Jersey servlet container. And this is not Governator specific, but all our servlet containers have to be eager singletons. So we're going to just make it eager. Binder dot class as eager singleton. Okay. If we start that now, actually we'll bring in this servlet module. My servlet module. If we try and start it now, it's not going to like it because we don't actually have a resource config. No implementation of resource config, so we haven't done any of that yet. But fortunately, there's a Governator module that will do it for us, or rather help with that. It's called the Governator. What's it called? The Governator Jersey support module. And this is going to help with actually scanning for path annotations within our actual REST service. So it's going to essentially help when it comes to actually looking for those path annotations, so we can actually serve those paths and actually hit them. So if we actually have a look at this support module, it's got some boilerplate code that we can just copy and paste into our servlet module. And what we need to do with this is essentially just supply the classes that have our REST services. And in this case, it's my REST service. And with that, we should be all done. Okay. Yeah, Jetty server set up. We got our servlet in it, and now it's supplying us hello when we hit the hello path. Okay, this serve here is just basically programmatically doing what a web XML would normally do. I'm not actually sure if you can use web XMLs with this, you probably can, but I just run away from anything XML based like the plague. I hate anything XML based, so I'll rather do anything programmatically. But this seems like a bit of ghastly boilerplate code, and technically we don't actually need it. Without it, we're gonna have it's not gonna know where to look for path annotations, so it's just not gonna start up for us. Essentially, it's not going to be able to find any classes with a path annotation because it doesn't even know where to look. But what we could do is just do it here. We could overload this and send some init params. However, use the overloaded method, not actually overload it ourselves. String. We're going to create params. and we're going to do a params.put. It's going to be a packages resource config. Dot property packages, and from the package gov.example. So it knows where to actually get our path annotations. And we'll put it in there. And if we launch it again, that'll go through. And again, hello, it works. Now, our actual Governator Jersey support module actually suggests we do it this way. It doesn't mention anything about this, so I'm not sure. Because it doesn't mention it, it's probably best that we don't use it, even though it works both ways and it's less boilerplate code. And it looks a bit neater as well, but because there's no mention of it, I guess don't do it. So we'll just stick to this way, where we have to supply it directly with classes that have the path annotation, so it knows what to serve. Okay, so that's a simple REST service up and running. But what I want to do, because it's all dependency, because it's essentially Spring. I've got my little my service here. Perhaps I want to inject that into here. Private my service. And we're going to supply the service.doit instead. So if I run that and go back to this hello Governator, which is in the my service class. So essentially at this point it's working exactly as you expect Spring to work, essentially. Minimal boilerplate code or anything. And we can use Archaius with it really easily as well. If we actually wanted to inject our config here, config, and get that property class, property config, or rather just the little prop here, we can do that fairly simply. Get string, prop. Start it up again, and we hit it again. Hello Archaius juice. And there we have it. It's just a very simple crash course into Governator. We used it to set up a Jersey, a Jetty server, and we've used Jersey to create a REST service and pop it in our server container. So essentially we use this as basically a web XML, this my servlet module. You probably could do a web XML. There probably is a way, but I wouldn't know. I wouldn't want to do it either. But people have their preference, doesn't matter. So what else is there? Have we got anything else? I think that's it for this episode. Yeah. It's a little bit of a crash course into Governator. And as you can see, minimal boilerplate code, but we've got a REST service up and running. It's almost as easy as Spring. So check it out, because it is pretty good. Thanks for watching.